Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lunch table. Today, it's just me and Joel today. Today, we're going to be doing some off-season team breakdowns. We're going to be breaking down every team in the NFL, starting with the NFC, NFC North. That's what we're doing today. And we're going to keep kind of chipping away at these teams, but me and Joel today are going to be knocking off the NFC North, which is Lions, Packers, Vikings, and Bears. So lots to talk about there. But before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, and to stay tuned for all of the other offseason breakdown videos we're going to be coming out with as the offseason continues, as we're now in full swing with the offseason. We got NFL free agency starting here soon. The Combine will be starting here in a couple weeks. So starting to get in that off-season groove, and we thought, what better way to get into that mindset than kind of just talk about every team. All right, Green Bay Packers. So the Green Bay Packers, they went 9-8 this past season, and they lost in the divisional round, but we really saw the emergence of Jordan Love. He was phenomenal this year. He played better than I expected, and probably you did too.
Yep.
And he kind of just set the world on fire. He started off a little bit slow, but kind of started picking it up, and he played really well in the playoffs. And so I think as a Packers fan, you got to be super pleased with what you see with him and with his future. Obviously, it's still kind of, they were the youngest team in the NFL, average age-wise, so they got a lot of young receivers. You still have Aaron Jones on that defense. You still have Rashawn Gary and Jair Alexander, just to name a few. I know I'm missing one of their better, who was Kenny Clark? Is he still
Kenny
there?
Clark. Yep.
Yeah. So the Packers, obviously, they're a playoff team. They showed that, but I think they have enough young pieces to where they have an exciting future. I'm really excited to see what they can do and how Jordan Love can continue to develop.
Yeah.
But if I were to give them a grade for this whole season, I'd probably give them a B plus.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, you finished 9-8, which isn't anything too crazy, but your playoff run was really impressive. You took down some good teams,
and you took a step that, and especially if we look at Jordan Love, you took a step that not a whole lot of people expected, and I feel like that warrants that B plus range in my opinion too.
And they pushed the 49ers too.
They did. They had the 49ers on their toes the entire game, so I completely agree.
All right, so the Packers, going into this offseason, they have $12.5 million in cap space, which isn't as much as these other teams, but they still have enough to work around. Some of their key free agents is running back A.J. Dillon, guard John Runyon Jr., and safety Darnell Savage. Some of their key free agency needs is safety, offensive line, and corner. And Joel, who do you have them keeping? What are some of their free agents you think they should look to keep?
I'm going to start off this time with casualties that I think that there's a possibility for, and I'll give my reasoning for why I think it's the case. For one, I think David Bakhtiari could be a cap casualty. Definitely. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and you save. I feel like, for one, it could be a cap casualty, and you could bring him back for cheaper type deal, or you just look to move on, because their tackle that came in for him, their 7th rounder this past year, he performed very well. So I feel like that could be something. I could see Bakhtiari being a cap casualty. As much as it's crazy to think about, I think that could happen. Another one I could potentially see happening is Aaron Jones. I could see Aaron Jones being that cap casualty this year too, because of those same concerns, those injury concerns that we're having, starting to age a little bit more and more. I think those are two possibilities that could take place. I don't know what you think about that, but
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if there's two players on that team that would be cap casualties, it's both of them. Like you hit it on the head. Both of them are aging, have injury history, and are getting paid a pretty good amount. So getting rid of them would definitely open the flexibility up a lot. As much as it hurts to lose those type of guys, I think um, yeah. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do in
and
order
just
to
bite the
have
bullet.
flexibility. And plus, you have Jordan Love is going to be up for an extension here sometime soon
Well, and
because
you also think about this. It's a young team. Do you
yeah.
think it's time we start flipping that coin over and start
Hmm.
looking elsewhere? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of my mentality there. But I think those are the two that you could see happening. Um, I'm gonna go a little bit outside of those guys that you guys mentioned. There's one clear cut guy I feel they need to bring back, but I'm not gonna go there. I think the big one that they need to bring back is Keyshawn Nixon. I think Keyshawn Nixon is that corner piece that they really need. I know we talked about Jair and everything, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're too thrilled with Jair Alexander. I think Keyshawn Nixon is that guy that you need to bring back, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he definitely had a great year, and I think, yeah, like you said, the uncertainty with what Jair, um, he's kind of said like he doesn't want to be. He's kind of not said, but like kind of implied that he doesn't want to come back and whatever. There's been some
Yeah,
disputes there, so yeah, keeping the guys, and he's young too. Nixon, he's I think what 26.
I think, yeah, around 26,
So
25,
so yeah,
26.
so good age at the timeline. Yeah, I think definitely somebody they should key in on keeping.
What about you, sir?
Um, I think I think you should. If I were to keep one of the players that I named, I think I think Runyon would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
He's he was just drafted in 2020, so he's fairly young. Um, and he's been a stable piece for them.
Yeah,
I think he hasn't dealt with much injuries. Um, and I think the best thing you can do for your young quarterback is to supply him with good offensive linemen. And I think keeping Runyon there would be a big help for Jordan Love's development and kind of just overall how they run that team. So that'd be
I'm
mine.
not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna take my the guy I was thinking of. I
I
went
didn't
away from
so
him. I think they need to bring back AJ Dillon,
yeah,
especially if they go in that route of say dropping like cutting parting ways with Aaron Jones. I think AJ Dillon is a must bring back because I don't
yeah,
think you don't really unless you go and address it in the draft, you're going to be hurting for a little bit there.
yeah,
And
for
AJ
sure.
Dillon brings that ground and pound run that, and they love to run the ball. Don't get me wrong.
Oh
So they and AJ Dillon that having a guy like AJ Dillon makes a huge impact, especially when you're in the red zone. So I think that's one that they really need to bring back.
yeah, I can see that happening for sure. All right, who do you think that they need to get in free agency or should target in free
I
agency?
listed a couple guys. You brought up bringing the guard back, Tunyon, or how did you say it again? I'm sorry,
Runyon,
Runyon. My bad.
close.
Um, I think a guy that they could go out and get is Ezra Cleveland, the guard that originally was playing for the Vikings but got traded to the Jags. I think Ezra Cleveland could be that piece that they need on the interior offensive line, and as you say, help Jordan Love's development continue to grow more and more. So that's the one that I chose to address. I think Ezra Cleveland would be a good pickup for them.
He's fairly young too, isn't he?
He is. He is. He
What, like
was. Oh,
27,
I think
28?
20. Yeah, 27.
Yeah,
So I think that's a. I think that one would be a good pickup for them personally.
yeah. For me, I'm gonna go in the direction that they don't bring back Darnell Savage, um, and Jonathan Owens, who's their other safety, who's also a free agent. So I'm gonna have them looking at safeties here, and I think they should target Xavier McKinney from the New York Giants. um, I think
I had that one too.
we're just on the same wavelength.
We are.
But I think Xavier McKinney is a really good player. He had a really good a really good year for the Giants this past year. Um, he had an 81.4% coverage grade, which was top 10 among safeties this year. Um, and he only allowed 7 yards per target in coverage, which ranked top 25, and he had 17 combined um, interceptions and forced incompletions, which was top 20 as well. And he's only 24, so he's super young. He brings, like I just listed, he's great in coverage. I think he fits that timeline which we've been talking about. I think he would be a perfect plug and play for them, a good replacement for Darnell Savage, who's probably better than him, honestly. And I think you can get him without having to break the bank. But but yeah, I think he would be a really good player to kind of plug right into that defense and help that secondary, which does need some help.
I like that. I really do. Um, I obviously we both had it. Um, the other one I was thinking along the lines of safety as well. What do you think about Kyle Duggar from the Patriots?
Yeah,
I feel like it fits similar to what you just said with McKinney. Like, don't get me wrong, he didn't have as great a year as McKinney. Um, it really wasn't as great as McKinney, but I feel Kyle Duggar is one of those options that he's proven that he can play in the NFL. He's a physical guy. He can come and play. And with the need at safety, I feel even a guy like Kyle Duggar can make an impact.
yeah, for sure. And he's another young
He's
guy.
27.
Yeah, so he's got some time left. So yeah,
So
I think that'd be good. All right, at pick 25, what are you looking for the Packers there?
so this is where I think they continue their trend of drafting uh, defense over that long period of time. I think they go defense. I think in particular they go corner. And I think this is the spot in which we see Cooper DeJean. I got Cooper
That's what I
DeJean.
had.
I mean, I think this
It's
is just a
kind of
given. It's a
yeah,
given. It fits the mold of a Packers player. He's he's versatile. He can play all across the secondary. He can play cover corner on the perimeter. He's a stud out there. He can also come inside, play nickel corner, and he can also come in and play safety and play in the box. He's an excellent tackle. He's an excellent tackler. He's an excellent physical guy. His athletic ability is there. I think this is a pick that just makes sense for Green Bay.
yeah. I totally agree. I think yeah, it's kind of just one that just feels like it just makes too much sense for them not to do this if he's there.
Yeah.
Um, like you said, he's a phenomenal attacker, big physical guy. He's versatile. He can play nickel, safety, corner. He can do it all. And he's an athletic freak. Sadly he's not going to be able to test at the combine, but if he did, he
If
would
he
be
did,
top in that
he'd be
position group by
insane. It,
far.
it, it would be insane.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think I mean they drafted Lucas Van Ness last year, his former teammate. So yeah, I think it's kind of just a match made in heaven there for Coop DeJean to
Mm-hmm.
go and then kind of he just like you said, he feels like a Packers player, and I think it's just too good. It's just too makes too much sense for them not to take him. So yeah, that's who I had them taking as well.
I'll I'll pivot off that and bring up a guy that you already brought up, Graham Barton. He seems like a Packers player to me too. A versatile guy that can play every position on the offensive line. A extremely versatile, extremely dominant guy too in that aspect. I mean, those are two guys that just make sense to me. I'm interested to see what happens with Jordan Love continuing his progression. I'll say that. I think this is one of those off seasons where it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Like
Mm-hmm.
you brought up that they're the youngest team. It would be good for them to bring in a veteran presence though too. I feel
Yeah.
and I feel like that's something we really didn't address, which could be key for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they also could look at bringing in a more prominent wide receiver. They had a solid group this year, but
Jaden Reed turned out to be that
yeah,
dude.
Jaden Reed looks really good. I really like him. But like Christian Watson was hurt a lot of for a lot of the year. Dontavian Wicks, I mean, he was great this year, but I don't know if that's going to be
And
like
then you have
how
Romeo Dobbs
sustainable
in
that's
there
going to be.
too. It's just
Yeah, so they kind of have a lot of like middling players who have upside, but I think maybe
that makes
bringing
me
in a veteran, more prominent guy might help them out a little bit.
yeah,
But that's like I would say that's one of their lower like needs.
I would
Like
agree.
after they address some of the other stuff, like you can look at that.
I would agree with that. I can get behind that idea.